Hello, students. This is for JMS 200, spring 2023. Yes, we are in 2023. Okay, this is the video lecture that I'm doing about media consumption. I asked students in the class, thank you to everyone who completed that Google form. I asked some students in the class their tastes, preferences, things about their media consumption habits. So I'm going to reveal that information. And then I'm going to also reveal some information from other sources, sort of national data, so we can see how the class compares to national data. And if you didn't fill out the Google form, no big deal. You didn't get points for it. I just wanted to get as many people as I could to fill that out. I am doing this on, what is the date today? January 20th. January 20th, 2023, Friday, January. And see, I got the front page of the Los Angeles Times, right? This is the front page. So that you know it is today. And yes, I am an old man. I also have bad eyesight. My vision is very bad. So I find it easier to read in print. Plus, if I spill coffee on this, it's no big deal. If I spill coffee on my iPad or a phone, that's a big deal. So I like reading the news this way. And look, tragic story. Alec Baldwin to be charged in set death on the film Rust. I assume you all know about that. Accident, I'm sure it was an accidental killing of someone with a gun. And also what's here in the calendar section, another Alec Baldwin story. Early list of must-see films at Sundance. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on Sundance. Okay, so we're gonna talk about films, TV shows, news consumption, where people get their news from, and a little bit about music. So here we go. Okay, here we are. We're going to start to go through some of the slides, and there will be a couple of questions. I think there's going to be 4 questions, so please pay attention. Okay, first up, here's the question that I asked everybody. How much TV do you watch on average in a day? By TV, I include streaming, Netflix, YouTube, Twitch, everything like that. And here's what we ended up with. We got 127 responses. A lot of people over here in the 40%. That's 1 to 2 hours. And then we got 2 to 4 hours. So looks like the class is coming in at, between 1 to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Only 21 people said they watched less than an hour, and only 16 people said they watched more than 4 hours. How does this compare with the national average? Good question. This data comes from Nielsen. Nielsen is a company that tracks all forms of audience consumption. And this report, called the Total Audience Report, is current as of March 2021. That does seem a little bit dated. However, I could not find anything more recent. The truly up-to-date, truly current, cutting-edge, day-to-day research, Nielsen wants people to pay for. So advertisers and media producers pay. So the older stuff that they're going to release to the public is going to be a little bit dated. So I do apologize for that, but this is the most current that I could get. As of 2020, so the data comes out March 2021, but it's looking at the previous year. The average adult in the United States, individuals 18 or over, spent 10 hours a day connected to some form of electronic media. I just want to clarify that there are forms of media which are not electronic. Reading print, reading a hard copy newspaper, reading a book, that, or listening to vinyl records, if you want to go old school like me, is not consuming electronic media in that way. But now we're looking at internet, TV, listening to the radio, games on a smartphone, something like that. 10 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 2020. And the bulk of that is over here. That's more than 3 hours a day on TV. Live TV is actually the bulk of the activity. And then we have time shifted TV over here. And what do we have over here? Apps and webs on the smartphone. That's a big chunk over here as well. And then apps and webs on a tablet over here. Okay. Now this data is a little confusing because it says media consumption went down for 2020. I don't think that makes sense, because during the pandemic, media consumption went up. Anecdotally, we know this. Nielsen changed their methodology. Okay. So what you are seeing here is a change in the methodology, not necessarily a decline in media consumption. But this is the data that the industry does rely upon. Okay, 10 hours a day connected to electronic media. Now, when it comes to video, online video, streaming video, all that kind of stuff, watching Wednesday on Netflix. The average American is spending more than 5 hours a day. Okay. And the bulk of that, again, is with live and time shifted TV. But then we also have some other things too, other types of TV connected devices, which are counted by Nielsen more than 5 hours. So if you were asked a question, hypothetically asked a question, how much TV does the average American watch in a day? The most recent public data from Nielsen is more than 5 hours. Okay, so the class, people are saying 2 hours, 3 hours. That's kind of where we came in. Remember, very few people in the class said they watched more than 4 hours a day. That's actually the national average, more than 5 hours in a day, more than 5 hours in a day. Okay, now, when you break down people by demographics, advertisers like to break down people by different demographics, including age, income, gender, ethnicity, different categories like that. Here, we're breaking down people by age. Not surprising, older Americans, I'm over here in the 50 to 64, and we've also got 65 plus. TV is the bulk of stuff over here, right? TV is the bulk of stuff over here. As people get older, they become a little more sedentary, perhaps a little more inclined to consume traditional linear media where the stuff just comes at you. So it's partially a product of age. It's also partially a product of people in my age group and older. We were socialized that way. We didn't grow up with the internet. So watching TV is kind of what we grew up with. And it remains to be seen if the younger generations, as they get older, will they pick up that TV habit, or is watching linear old-fashioned TV going to go down? Again, we don't know. But we also have people are using apps and things on the web, smartphones. That's what these other categories. Blue is the TV. And over here, this is where I think the class is, probably the bulk of the class. Younger people between the age of 18 to 34 watch much less TV and do more things on the internet or more thing on apps. Okay, so that's something to know. That older Americans, certainly age 50 and older, watch more TV than people aged 18 to 34. Okay, this here on the far left is the average when you put all the ages together. But when you separate different people by age group, you can clearly see some big distinctions in how people consume media. And younger adults consume less media overall because you're going out doing things at the club, playing sporting events, going on dates, all that other stuff. Okay. Okay, I asked people to name, I just lumped it together, favorite TV show or favorite movie. Here's some of the responses that we got. Law and Order, SVU, One Tree Hill, Criminal Minds. Oh, One Tree Hill shows up again. Gossip Girl, Gilmore Girls, Steel Magnolias, that's a movie. White Lotus, that's an HBO TV show. SpongeBob, glad to see SpongeBob. I like Plankton. More Gossip Girl. What else we got? Moon Knight, Dragon Ball Z. Is that anime? I think that's anime. Oh, more White Lotus. More White Lotus. Friends. All right, what else we got here? Another White Lotus. Look at that. More New Girl, Black Panther, Breaking Bad. Yeah, Breaking Bad. I think that's misspelled Interstellar, but yeah, that's a good movie. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I like that. I like that. The Office. Yeah, White Lotus. Wow, I didn't realize White Lotus was so popular. Okay, anyway. Um, when it comes to TV video consumption, Nielsen last few years has started to separate streaming from broadcast television, from cable television. I know in people's minds they consume it all the same way, but Nielsen tracks this stuff separately. We will discuss all of this in detail when we come to the TV module later in the semester. But for now, I wanted to go over this. This data right here is of the streaming services. Nielsen does not do household ratings. Nielsen also does not track total audience for these streaming services. Instead, it is minutes of video that's consumed, and this is millions, so you'd add some extra zeros over here. For the week we're looking at here, middle of December, Netflix Wednesday was pretty significantly the most popular thing at that time period. Oh, and just little personal thing. Shout out to myself. In an email that I sent y'all, I said my favorite band is the Cramps by far, hands down. I love the Cramps. Cramps, greatest band ever. Love them to death. Got to see them 3 times. The Cramps song "Goo Goo Muck" was featured in an episode of Wednesday. I didn't watch Wednesday, but when Goo Goo Muck showed up, all my friends were sharing it like, yeah, the Cramps, they're the best band ever. Harry and Meghan, I'm not a fan of those people. I'm not a fan of those people. Don't like either one of them. I don't like the royal family, period, but I don't like Harry and Meghan either. And then, wow, look, it's all Netflix. Anyway, so Netflix, and then there we got White Lotus, popular with the class, and we got White Lotus. All right, now before I talk about top broadcast TV shows, I want to go over this. I did go over this in the first class meeting. I'll go over this again, and I'll go over it again later when we talk about TV. A rating is a percent. You take the number of television households in the United States, which means any household that has access to television, whether or not the house has a television. If you have the internet now, if you have a smartphone now, you are considered to be a television household. So what percent of television households actually watched a show? Now, a rating can also be percent of people. If you're given demographic information like such and such show, Monday Night Football got a rating of 3, 18 to 49. 18 to 49 is the age range. So 3 in that case is not 3% of households, it is 3% of individuals aged 18 to 49. That is a rating. That's the most basic definition of rating. The industry still uses this metric, even though we are moving away from linear television to streaming. You still should know the basic metric of a rating. Now, a share is a very similar concept. It is also a percentage, but you remove from the sample the homes or the individuals who are not actually consuming TV at that time period. So, and you'll see this again, you'll be sick of this by the end of the semester. We have 10 homes, 3 of them are watching channel 2. Rating for channel 2 would be 30. 3 out of 10 is 30%, right? 3 out of 10? Yeah, okay. That would be a rating of 30. Same graphic. Now, what's the share? What's the share of channel 2? We're removing the TV homes that are not actually watching TV. 3 out of 6 would be 50. A 50 share, 50%. Okay, that's the difference between a ratings and a share. And here are the top Nielsen ratings for end of December to January 1st, just a few weeks ago. Monday Night Football. This is an 8.9 household rating. That's huge. We're going to talk in an upcoming lecture about the way the audience is so fragmented and spread across so many different platforms. So it's hard for any one thing to attract any significant amount of the audience. It's not to say mass media doesn't exist anymore, but we just have a lot more things to choose from. I do remember the era of 3 channels. Now we have a lot more things to choose from. Football right now is the only thing that really can get a huge chunk of the audience together, or maybe the Academy Awards or something like that. So 8.9 means 8.9% of households. So for this period, this is all football. This is all football is the most popular show. Yeah, it's all football. And 60 Minutes comes on Sundays on CBS right after football. So a lot of the audience just kind of continues watching CBS if they've been tuned in for the game. Okay. So that is what you need to know about a rating. It is a percent of television households. A rating, most basic definition, is a percent of television households. All right, I already went over your preferences when it comes to movies and TV shows and things like that. And I just pulled this up for 2022. Here are the top movies in terms of box office. In terms of money that was made at the box office doesn't mean the best. I mean, best is a very subjective. Everybody has their own standards of what the best movie is. Top Gun Maverick, top movie 2022. I thought I didn't care for it. This is just purely my own opinion. I hope I don't offend anyone. Purely my own opinion. I thought it was just racist pro-war propaganda. I thought it was xenophobic fascism. That's what I thought. And that big fight scene at the end is just clearly a copy of the trench run from Star Wars, which was itself a copy from another movie. So I didn't get it, and don't even get me going on the beach scene. But whatever, if you like Top Gun, good for you. I didn't care for it. I much preferred Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and I love Multiverse of Madness. Freaking love that movie. And I haven't seen Avatar yet. But anyway, these are the top movies for 2022. All right, when it comes to music, now we're shifting gears to music a little bit away from TV, video. Um, what is your preferred way of listening to music? This is from the class. 78% of people who responded, which was 100 people who responded out of 127, said some form of streaming, which I expected. And then we got live performances. I like going to see live performances as well. And then 7 people said vinyl. I love listening to vinyl. It's more convenient to stream, but I would much prefer to own a 45 of a song that I like than just some MP3 or some streaming thing. Oh, preferred way to listen to the radio. Preferred way of listening to music. One person said radio, and then there's some other physical format as well, but clearly streaming. Clearly it is streaming. And for the artists that y'all like, pretty varied. Country, got country. Oh, got some old school here stuff. George Harrison, Bob Dylan. Big techno fan. Punk rock. All right. Hippocampus. I don't know what Hippocampus. I don't know that band. Okay. Kendrick Lamar. Extension. Is that how you say Extension? Is that a SoundCloud rapper? I'm going to guess Extension has tattoos on their face. I'm going to guess whoever goes by Extension has tattoos on their face. I bet I'm right on that. Taylor Swift. All right, what else we got? Bad Bunny, very popular, of course. Like Bad Bunny. More Bad Bunny, more Taylor Swift. Dad Rock. Is that like Yacht Rock? Dad Rock. All right, okay. Anyway, there we go there. Now, when it comes to format for music, we've proven, indicated that the majority of the class likes to listen to music on streaming. That is in sync with industry trends. This chart right here shows music revenue from music industry. This came out in the midpoint of 2022. So it's halfway through 2022. We don't have the 2022 year-end report yet, but from this, 84% of the revenue is coming from streaming. Okay. Going back several years, maybe 20 years ago, this category doesn't exist. Now streaming is the way people are consuming music and paying for streaming services. And only 10% of the revenue comes from physical product, like actually buying an album, whether that's a vinyl album or CD or maybe even a cassette tape. So only 10% of the music industry revenue is coming from physical product. Most of it's coming from streaming and sync. I'm pretty sure this refers to licensing of music and songs to TV shows and films, like when the Cramps appeared in Wednesday, the band or whoever owns the publishing rights to that got paid for that. So there's some money that comes from sync rights, but most of it's coming from streaming. And when it comes to music that's popular for 2022, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. I know. I'm a professor. I'm using Wikipedia. Bad professor. Please don't tell my colleagues. But I thought for this case, it made sense. This is a listing of all the top singles. List of Billboard Top 100. Billboard is publication that tracks music. The top singles from 2022. And it just kind of goes through chronologically. So you can see the artists that are popular, including some artists that I think are popular with students in the class. Harry Styles, Morgan Wallen. He's okay. Country music artist. Future, got Bad Bunny, Lizzo. Like Lizzo. I think Lizzo's wicked cool, man. Kendrick Lamar. Students like Kendrick Lamar. And then I'm going to jump ahead. Doja Cat, Lil Baby. Lil Baby. He doesn't spell his name with an apostrophe. It's not like a Lil Baby. It's Lil Baby. I don't know. Lil Baby. Taylor Swift. Yeah, when her album came out, yeah, everybody got their album, right? Look at that. My God, for November 5th, it's all Taylor Swift. All Taylor Swift right there. Metro Boomin, SZA. SZA. Is that how you say it? SZA. SZA. Is that how you say that? Okay, and another question I asked was favorite social media platform. Again, this is just the class. This is just the class. TikTok. TikTok is the favorite social media platform for JMS 200 Spring 2023. TikTok is the favorite social media platform. And we got Instagram over here. What's this? Twitter. What's this one? Snapchat. And one person says LinkedIn. I like the person who says LinkedIn. They're looking for work. That's a good one. Not on social media. So not on social media is even more popular than LinkedIn. And then we got Facebook over here. Facebook is like the happy birthday platform. That's where you go for your birthday messages. But yeah, TikTok. Okay, now in all seriousness, where do you get your news from? Again, this is just the class. Where do you get your news from? 83 people, which is 65%, said social media. And then we got another group of people saying online. Okay, that makes sense. A couple people said TV. One person says newspapers. All right, I already showed. I got the newspaper right here. I got the newspaper right here. I look at all forms. I look at stuff on my phone, look at social media, look at newspaper, look at CNN. I look everywhere. NPR. I listen to AM talk radio. I try to just take it all in. And then we got over here, my friends or family tell me what's important. Okay. This is associated with a media theory known as two-step flow, which is that media doesn't necessarily influence people, but it might influence someone else who then influences you. So the information flows through this sort of like multi-step process. Anyway, two-step flow, you'll hear that again. But for the class, social media is where we are getting our news, Now, this is similar to some data that I showed in the last video lecture, but this is more current. This includes 2022, okay? So for 2022, from August 2022, where do people prefer to get their news from? Okay, this is national data now. We've concluded that the class likes to get their stuff from social media. 53% of people said digital devices, which I think probably means social media. There's probably a strong correlation between digital devices and social media. And TV is at 33% here. A decline from 2020, but not a big decline. And then we have radio and print down at the bottom. Radio is probably the most widely consumed form of media in the United States because almost everyone is exposed to radio in some form or fashion, but it is not the go-to place for your news. Okay, so radio, everyone is exposed to radio in some form or fashion. But digital devices like our phones and our tablets, that's where people are liking to get their news from, digital devices. And when it comes to people who get their news, now we're looking at people who get their news from social media. What percent of these users regularly get their news from this source? And I just found this earlier today. And I thought this was pretty interesting. It's pretty current as of 2022. And for most social media platforms, we're looking at 3 years worth of data. The percentage of users who are getting their news from there seems to be going down or stable. However, this is very noticeable. TikTok is showing an increase. More people are getting news from TikTok, which strikes me as really weird. When I see TikTok videos, they're like weird, like reaction things where there's two people or one person's commenting on something else, or it's just something kind of absurd and comical. So I don't think about TikTok as being a news source, but maybe I'm not looking at the right TikTok channels. So that's the takeaway here. TikTok is showing an increase. More people are getting their news from TikTok as a trend. It's kind of increasing. But the general trend of people getting their news from social media is not going away. It's just that we see TikTok with this noticeable increase. Okay, that's it. I know that was a lot of data. Look at the notes. Look at the Word document that's on Canvas. That's going to have the important stuff. Anything that's going to show up on the quiz is going to be in that Word document. Okay, so look at that Word document. I know it's a lot of information, but hopefully y'all got something out of it. And now I'm going to edit this thing and get it up on Canvas today.